Your Majesty, Your Royal Highnesses, Excellencies,
Excelencias,
members of the jury,
miembros del jurado,
distinguished laureates,
distinguidos,
ladies
premiados,
and gentlemen.
señoras y señores.
It is a great honor to stand here before you
Es un
tonight.
gran honor estar aquí ante ustedes esta noche.
Perhaps, like the great maestro Riccardo Muti,
Quizás como el gran
I am
maestro
not
Ricardo
used to
Muti,
standing in front of an audience
No
without an
estoy
orchestra
acostumbrado a
behind
estar
me.
ante un público sin orquesta atrás de mí.
I will do my best as a solo artist
Pero haré lo
tonight.
que pueda en mi desarrollo de esto como solo.
I stayed up all night last night wondering
Me quedé toda la noche en
what I
vela
might say to
anoche
this
pensando qué podía decir
august
aquí
assembly.
en esta asamblea
after I
de
had
distinguidas personas.
All the chocolate bars,
Y después de comerme
and
todas las
peanuts
barras de chocolate, todos
in
los
the
cacahuetes del minibar,
I scribbled a few words.
garabateé unas pocas palabras
I don't think I have to refer to them.
y no creo que me tenga que referir a ellas.
Obviously, I am deeply touched to
Obviamente,
be recognized,
estoy muy emocionado por
by the
ser
foundation.
reconocido por la Fundación.
But I've come here tonight to express
Pero he venido aquí
another
esta noche
dimension.
para expresar
Gratitude.
otra dimensión de gratitud.
I think I can do it in 3 or 4 minutes.
Creo que
I will
puedo
try.
hacerlo en 3 o 4 minutos y lo voy a intentar.
When I was packing in Los Angeles
Cuando
to
estaba
come
haciendo el
here,
equipaje en Los
I had a
Ángeles para venir
sense
para
of
acá,
unease because
estaba un
I've
poco
always felt
inquieto
some
porque siempre
ambiguity
he tenido
about an
sentido
award for
cierta
poetry.
ambigüedad en cuanto a la poesía.
Poetry comes from a place
La poesía
that no one
viene de un
commands
lugar que
and
nadie
no one
controla,
conquers. So
que
I
nadie
feel
conquista.
it's somewhat like a charlatan to accept an award for an activity
Es
which I do not
difícil
command.
aceptar un
In
premio
other
de una
words,
actividad
if
que
I
yo
knew
no
where the good
controlo.
songs came from,
Es decir, si
I'd
supiera
go there
dónde
more
vienen
often.
las canciones, haría más canciones con mayor frecuencia.
I was compelled in the midst of that ordeal of packing to go and open my guitar. I have a Conde guitar, which was made in Spain in the great workshop at number 7 Garden Street. A beautiful instrument that I acquired over 40 years ago. I took it out of the case, I looked at it, it seemed to be filled with helium. It was so light. And I brought it to my face. I put my face close to the beautifully designed rosette, and I inhaled the fragrance of the living wood. You know that wood never dies. I inhaled the fragrance of cedar, as fresh as the first day that I acquired the guitar. And a voice seemed to say to me, "You are an old man, and you have not said thanks. You have not brought your gratitude back to the soil from which this fragrance arose." And so I come here tonight to thank the soil and the soul of this people that has given me so much. Because I know just as an identity card is not a man, a credit rating is not a country. Now, you know of my deep association and confraternity with the poet Federico Garcia Lorca. I could say that when I was a young man, an adolescent, and I hungered for a voice, I studied the English poets, and I knew their work well, and I copied their style, but I could not find a voice. It was only when I read, even in translation, the works of Lorca, that I understood that there was a voice. It is not that I copied his voice. I would not dare. But he gave me permission to find a voice, to locate a voice. That is, to locate a self that is not fixed, a self that struggles for its own existence. And as I grew older, I understood that instructions came with this voice. What were these instructions? The instructions were never to lament casually. And if one is to express the great inevitable defeat that awaits us all, it must be done within the strict confines of dignity and beauty. And so I had a voice, but I did not have an instrument. I did not have a song. Now I'm going to tell you very briefly a story of how I got my song. Because I was an indifferent guitar player. I banged the chords. I only knew a few of them. I sat around with my college friends drinking and singing the folk songs or the popular songs of the day. But I never in 1,000 years thought of myself as a musician or as a singer. One day, in the early 60s, I was visiting my mother's house in Montreal. The house is beside a park, and in the park there's a tennis court where many people come to watch the beautiful young tennis players enjoy their sport. I wandered back to this park, which I had known since my childhood, and there was a young man playing a guitar. He was playing a flamenco guitar. And he was surrounded by 2 or 3 girls and boys who were listening to him. I loved the way he played. There was something about the way he played that captured me. It was the way I wanted to play and knew that I would never be able to play. And I sat there with the other listeners for a few moments, and then there was a silence, an appropriate silence. I asked him if he would give me guitar lessons. He was a young man from Spain, and we could only communicate in my broken French and his broken French. He didn't speak English. And he agreed to give me guitar lessons. I pointed to my mother's house, which you could see from the tennis court, and we made an appointment. We settled a price. And he came to my mother's house the next day, and he said, "Let me hear you play something." I tried to play something. He said, "You don't know how to play, do you?" I said, "No, I really don't." He said, "First of all, let me tune your guitar. It's all over." So he took the guitar and he said, "It's not a bad guitar." It wasn't a concert, but it wasn't a bad guitar. So he handed it back and he said, "Now play." He couldn't play. He said, "Let me show you some chords." And he took the guitar and he produced a sound from that guitar I'd never heard. And he played a sequence of chords with a tremolo. And he said, "Now what do you do?" I said, "It's a question I can't possibly do." He said, "Let me put your fingers on the frets." And he put my fingers on the frets. And he said, now play." It was a mess. He said, "I'll come back tomorrow." He came back tomorrow. He put my hands on the guitar. He placed it on my lap in ways that were appropriate. And I began again with those 6 chords progression. Many flamenco songs. I was a little better that day. The 3rd day, improved. Somewhat improved. But I knew the chords now. And I knew that although I couldn't coordinate my fingers with my thumb and use the correct tremolo pattern, I knew the chords. I knew it very, very well. The next day, he didn't come. I had the number of his boarding house in Montreal. I phoned to find out why he had missed the appointment, and they told me that he'd taken his life. I knew nothing about that. I did not know what part of Spain he came from. I did not know why he came to Montreal. I did not know why he stayed there. I did not know why he appeared in that peninsula. I did not know why he took his life. I was deeply sad. But now I disclose been the basis of all my songs and all my music. So now you will begin to understand the dimensions of the gratitude I have for this country. Everything that you have found favorable in my work comes from this place. Everything that you have found favorable in my songs and my poetry are inspired by this soil. So I thank you so much for the warm hospitality that you have shown my work, because it is really yours, and you have allowed me to affix my signature to the bottom of the page. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen.